Okay, friends, today we're going to mix oil paints for a painting. I'm going to be working on a painting of tangerines with the leaves still on them and a small off-white crock. I'll post the picture so you can see what I'm mixing the colors for. Here are the colors that I'm going to start with. Basically, a light green, a warm green, dark green, a viridian, turquoise, cerulean blue, a cobalt blue, ultramarine, a purple, probably a diazonine purple, a magenta, an alizarin, cad red, cad orange, cad yellow, yellow ochre, and a light yellow. I also have a unbleached titanium and white. So I like to start to mix my colors with, I'm going to mix my oranges first. So I'm going to take the cad orange, and I like to establish my shadows first. So that's what I'll go for first. And I like to use a lot of paint. I don't like to run out while I'm painting and have to mix more. And so after the years, I've pretty much gotten good at estimating. So the first thing I want to do is, this is straight out of the tube, and what I want to do is I want to mix the darker, the shadowy colors, the darkest colors that we're going to be facing. So this pile is what that will be. So these are my pure colors, and I try to keep them as clean as possible. So every time I'm going to go get a different color, I'm going to wipe off my palette knife so that it's clean, so that when I go into another color, I'm not contaminating. So to darken this down, I'm going to go with an adjacent color. And the adjacent color I'm going to use is alizarin to take this down, but still keep it very saturated. So I'm going to need more, and I'm just going to keep working like this. And if you have any questions, feel free to post them. Remember, this is our shadow in the oranges. In the picture that I have, the shadows fall very, very dark. And you really want to emphasize the value changes when you're painting. So this has to get very dark. I'm liking that for one of the colors, but I still am going to have to go darker. I'm going to divide that off. I'm going to put more alizarin in there, because this is going even darker than this color. Going into a nice shadow area, right? Now at any time you think that your shadow area is a bit too vibrant, because you know our shadow areas get duller. Our shadow colors should run duller. And so to dull this, I would want to add something earthy. And to do that, I'll go over here to just a tiniest bit of yellow ochre. And you'll see how that will just bring that vibrancy right down. Well, that's a nice color, but that's still not as dark as I'm going to go. I'm yet going to go darker. I'm going to grab more alizarin and just the wildest, tiniest bit of purple. You have to be careful when adding purple in, or blues, or anything like that, because it will go, your oranges and your reds will go brown very, very quickly. And you do not want it to look like, I might even take just a tiniest hit of blue there, add that in. You do not want your shadow areas to go brown. And it's going to look like you have bruised fruit instead of shadowed fruit. Now that's looking very nice to me. I might just take a tiniest little bit more ochre just to bring that down. Right. I could also bring it down with its complementary color. And the complement to this kind of color might be a tiny bit of, maybe like the turquoise would bring that down also. So you can see how we're progressing the darkest shadows on the orange, and we're going to come up this way. So we kind of left off here, right? And I think that this is a nice transition, but this is very close to this, so I'm going to incorporate that orange back into it to bump it up a little bit. Remember, we are still in shadow. The alizarin is a cool color, and we will find that in shadow. There's our shadow colors coming along really quite nicely. I'm wiping again. I'm going to take more clean orange, because remember, we're progressing up into the highlight of the orange. So here we are, and I'm just going to add, this is straight out the tube, so I'm just going to add the tiniest bit of a red, cad red, just so that we're a little lighter, but we're not that bright orange, not just yet. We're not there yet. So see, it's just a little tiniest bit of red in there. Might just a little more. See, you've got to do this by feel. I'm feeling like this to this is quite a jump. So I might want to bring it down just a tiny bit. A little darker. I don't want that jump to be too crazy. It has to be believable in my painting. But I'm just going little bits at a time. Nothing crazy. See? That's a better blend. You'll see how they're progressing up. Now we're going to go a little bit lighter. Now we are in what I consider the sunshine. So I'm going to take just the littlest bit of yellow into this, because we're in the sunshine now, right? We are hitting the areas that the sun or the light is resting upon. There's no alizarin here. If I want it darker than this, it would be a warm cad red. But what I'm doing is I'm actually lightening it. So I'm going lighter. The sun is hitting this. It's, we're progressing along. I'm running out of orange here and of my pure color. So let me get a little bit more. We like to try to keep those colors as clean as possible. On this little tray, I store this tray in the freezer. Comes in a little tube. I can leave a link if you guys are interested to know what that is called. So now this is going to get that cad again, because we used cad here, right? And there's going to be more cad in this than was in this pile, because we're going farther into the sunshine, right? We're really stepping it up now. That sun is really starting to hit these tangerines. You just want to be careful not to add too much of the yellow. If you add too much, you're going to get a peach color, and peach is not where you want to head. You want to keep it orange. See, we're really separating here. Now I'm going to reach into this light yellow, and I'm going to bring a little bit of that in here because it's going to make my color light up a lot faster. That's what I call it, lighting up this color, because we're going towards the light. And you'll notice that as I've mixed these, and I hope you'll notice that I've yet to touch that this white pile over here. I've done all this mixing and I've come up the gradient, the value gradient, and I haven't touched any white yet. You want to hold off on that white as long as possible, because white makes things chalky, and chalky is not vibrant, it's dull. And the last thing you want in your highlights would be something dull, right? So how's that looking? You're always comparing it to this color here. Is it bright enough? Is it light enough? I think it's not quite light enough, so I might go with a little more of the cad, a little more of the lemon. Step this up. Now look at that. Now there's a difference. That's beautiful. My next step is the lightest step that there's going to be in this. The lightest you're going to get. So you can see how I'm going to mix this, right? It's going to be orange, but it is going to be very bright. Well, they look the same right now, and they are. So we're going to have to work at it just a little bit harder. A little bit harder. Now to that, here's my first white. There it is. I'm going to leave that because I'm thinking that that's going to get a whole lot more yellow before I actually apply that. Our highlights will be changeable based on whatever else we've created. So there's video 1 of the colors that I will paint to depict the oranges as they go from their darkest shadow, in the shadow, in the shadow, in the sunlight, more sunlight, more sunlight, highlight. So that's how I like to set this up. I'll do the same for the green leaves, and then I'll do the same for my background and foreground. And then on this particular painting, it's not just the tangerines, it's also an old antique crock, a white old pickling crock. And so I'll be mixing the highlight and the shadow to that. But this is video 1, and this is for the tangerines. So watch for video 2. Thanks.